Hey there, welcome everybody to the most must-see show on YouTube and Streamia.com today. It is indeed Ridiculously Raw. I am your host, Anthony Florio, joined as always by good old MF Michael Fletcher and the Phenom, Michael Bullock. WWE, of course, beginning its build for the Bash in Berlin pay-per-view on August 31st, and there was a lot to cover on tonight's show. So with that being said, let's just dive right on in, gentlemen. Monday Night Raw live tonight. And of course, first things first, back on the USA Network, where it will stay for the remainder of 2024 before the big move to Netflix, the start of 2025. Back on USA tonight, and it was live from the Moody Center in Austin, Texas. And of course, we started it off in-ring segment. It was Rhea Ripley cutting a scathing promo, interrupted by Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio. And then before you knew it, all hell broke loose here. Ripley came out, gave a promo directed at Liv and Dominic. The new couple appeared in the crowd, and Dom was drowned out by boos as he tried to speak as always. And then Damian Priest gets involved, and he appeared behind Dirty Dom and Liv and started beating up Dom, and Morgan tried to help, but Rhea chased her away. They were brawling in the concession areas. Man alive, how I wish it could have. Why couldn't Providence? Why couldn't tonight have been Providence? Could you imagine if they had done that here tonight? If they had done that, oh, we would have ate that up. Come on now, but. And this is actually a 2-for-1 deal. It led into a match. Damian Priest squaring off against Carlito. Damian Priest winning that match 9 minutes and 20 seconds. Okay, 2-for-1 here, guys. First, let's talk about the promo briefly. The Eradicator was great in this segment, but Dom's lack of believability hurt the overall segment, and it felt like a story from a teen comedy and not how adults should be acting. And now, and as far as the match is concerned, but before I get into that, it was announced a little while ago, and to the surprise of none of us, we're going to get it. Bash at Berlin, mixed tag team match, Rhea Ripley, Damian Priest versus Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio. We're getting it in Berlin, guys. And now, as far as the match is concerned, Damian Priest and Carlito, their match started once Carlito showed up to help Dom. They battled through 2 commercial breaks, but they had less TV time than it sounds because most of the action took place during commercials. Priest picked up a predictable win and was immediately attacked by the rest of Judgment Day. Rhea ran down, kicked Carlito below the belt before helping Damian take out JD McDonough. Decent way to open the show, but the match was forgettable, and the promo overstayed its welcome by a little bit. The match was about 2.5, teetering on 3. So really, not much more to say about that. So MF, come on in. What a way to start it off here. The scathing promo by Rhea, the interruption by Liv and Dom, and that visual of Damian Priest showing up right behind Liv and Dom. Boy, did you have fun with that on the commentary there. And then Damian Priest defeating Carlito in 9:20.
Let's just say surprise mother bleeper. That was what Damian Priest just did. And I see that from behind. I'm like, oh no! Guys! Behind you!
And now we got the mixed tag. Damian and Rhea versus Liv and Dom in Berlin.
Yeah, this is gonna, like you said, this is gonna be very interesting to see. But look, like you said, I get where they were trying to go with it, and I would have given it a lot of props. But the thing is like you said, it wasn't believable. That storyline, the explanation came out a lot weaker than I thought it was going to be. And Dom, basically in the way that he said it, it wasn't really that. What really made it wrong was the delivery of it. I get what he was trying to go for, and it was a valid point. but the execution of the explanation was not good. And that's what made the segment suffer. Because if he goes around to say, well, Liv did more for me than you ever did in my entire career, we would say valid point. She did help him out. And as a matter of fact, what was the one thing I said the whole damn time that it led to? When Liv helped him beat his deadbeat dad, Rey Mysterio, on Monday Night Raw, the mixed tag fight, that was the minute Dominic fell for Liv. That was the moment he would go through the wall for her, because he beat his father in a match in WWE. Because remember, when Liv was there,
and the thing is, Fletch, what was the one thing that Dominic Mysterio was obsessing over?
Beating Rey, beating his deadbeat dad, giving him the lesson that he rightfully deserves. That's exactly what it is, Michael Bullock.
Exactly.
Don't ever interrupt me again. But anyway, at that point, that was the moment where that was the moment. So obviously the execution of the rant, it just didn't work. And the thing with Damian standing there at that rampway, standing there behind, like I said, Floyo, you even talked about it. It was a commentary gold moment for me, because this is the moment where I freak. I'm in full scale panic, because I know what's happening. This was a setup, and Priest was there. The Terror Twins outsmarted the Judgment Day at that moment. It was beautifully constructed, beautifully done, but like you said, everything was not really perfect because it looked like a jumbled mess. And that is not what the fans wanted. That's not what I was looking for. But at the end, it was fine. Then as far as Damian versus Carlito goes, some fan on the internet was saying, well, this is the first time two Puerto Ricans went at it since Backlash last year in Puerto Rico. Yes, true. Bad Bunny versus Damian Priest, one in Puerto Rico. Amazing event. Go out of your way to watch it on Peacock. And at that point, it was a fine match. It's about 2.5. But again, it literally gets lost in the shuffle more than anything else. There's really nothing more to add. Michael Bullock, it is all yours, my friend.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, it was. The segment was. I'm sorry to say this, boys. It was a swing and a miss on the segment, because Dominic not basically. Yes, he did explain that Liv, was the reason why he finally beat his deadbeat dad, but he never gave a real logical explanation for why he did what he did, why he turned on Rhea Bloody Ripley. The segment was fine, but overall, I think we can all agree it was a swing and a miss, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, they could have done better with it, but, it is what it is. And as far as the match goes, I'll give it 2.5 stars. So, yeah, really nothing more to say. So let's move on, Florio.
All right, and then we had a squash match here. We had a cutout here. The Monday Night Raw in-ring debut of Odyssey Jones. He had Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods in his corner to take on some guy named Vincent Winey. And Odyssey Jones squashed him in 1:45. dud, worst fight of the night. Obviously, it was a showcase for Odyssey Jones. But then after the match was over, the final testament came out, and Kofi threw down the gauntlet. Next Monday night on Raw in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, at the FLA Live Arena, we will have Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods, and Odyssey Jones squaring off against Karrion Kross and AOP in a 6-man tag. Something tells me that might be where Xavier turns. Something tells me. I smell a rat. So
I agree with you there.
Yeah. So we don't really have to go further into that, but we will address that 6-man tag next week. All right. Just want to make sure I'm caught up on everything here. Okay. Next up, we had a Texas Tornado tag team match. The Creed brothers squaring off against Akira Tozawa and Otis. Of course, the Creed brothers, along with Chad Gable, are now under a new stable name known as American Made. And they're going up against the Alpha Academy, Akira Tozawa and Otis, Maxine Dupree in their corner. And the winners of the match, in an even 12 minutes, it was the Creed brothers give the assist to Ivy Nile as Ivy Nile turns on Maxine Dupree. And Ivy Nile has reunited with the Creed brothers, and you got the three of them and Chad Gable, this new American Made stable. Yeah, big step forward here tonight. So MF, the Creeds defeating Alpha Academy 12 minutes even. Ivy Nile, the difference maker, after her attack on Maxine.
Yeah, well, again, this was expected. We kind of felt like Ivy was going to do it. Last couple of weeks, you've been hearing, how Ivy and Maxine were kind of having a little bit of a chit chat. Then you saw how Master Gable was trying to manipulate the situation. But here's the thing. Ivy needs to be the deterrent for one Nikki Cross. Because American Made are not done with the Wyatt Six. Now you have an evenly matched type fight on our hands. Because you got the three guys. It was always the thing was you had Sister Abigail, a.k.a. Abby the Witch, a.k.a. Nikki Cross. She was the difference maker, even though she didn't get involved in the first fight. But she could come in at any point and might want to get involved. But now you have a reason for her to get in. If for some reason Ivy decides to jump, we got somebody else. We got a female that's ready to jump right into the fray and is not afraid to get dirty herself. So we'll say that it was a fine match. And I will say this. You got to give credit to Tozawa and to the big boy, to Otis, because they were cooking for a little while, man. And there was a point where they were actually outpacing the Creeds. So a lot of people were saying that these guys were doing a lot more better than they were expected to. So this was a solid 3.25, 3.5 star fight. Yes, the outcome was never in doubt. However, you got to give it up for Alpha Academy because they stepped up pretty good in this fight tonight. Michael Bullock, it is all yours.
What did you give it, Fletch?
3.25, 3.5.
Yeah, I'll give it about that. I mean, Ivy Nile being the total difference maker in the match and turning on Maxine. So, yeah, there were some things going on with them lately, and Master Gable basically trying to stir the pot, and whatever he did, it worked. And like you said, the thing is, I think American Made's not done with the Wyatt Six, and now that you got Ivy Nile to counter Nikki Cross, aka Sister Abigail, it's an even playing field now, boys. So I can't wait to see what happens with this. So 3 1/4, 3.5. It's yours, Florio.
3 1/4, 3.5. This was a high energy match with a few standout moments. One or two spots didn't go as planned, but the negatives were overshadowed by the positives by a big margin. Ivy Nile attacking Maxine was so predictable that there's nothing really left to say there. It's a crime that it took WWE this long to find a way to use the creeds. The way Otis caught Julius was so impressive. Akira Tozawa botched the Tope Suicida, but thankfully didn't hurt himself. And the superplex spot was incredible and made the crowd go nuts. Yeah, second best fight of the night for me. 3 1/4, 3.5 stars. Very good Texas Tornado tag team matchup. All right, next up, we had ourselves a number one contenders match for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. Now, there were a couple of things beforehand. There was a pre-taped interview, the beautiful Jackie Redmond sitting down with Pete Dunne. And then they had a video package of Bronson Reed. Oh, trust me when I tell you, we're going to get into that because we had the mother of all commentary gold moments tonight, and we're going to have some fun with that in just a minute. All right. This next match was for the opportunity to be the next challengers for Alba Fire and Isla Dawn and the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. We had Damage Control, Io Sky and Kairi Sane squaring off against Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark, Sonya Deville in their corner. They have a new stable name of their own. The Pure Fusion Collective. Okay. Interesting name there.
What?
Not really. Yeah, what is right, Bullock? You're right about that.
Sounds like this. I hate to say this, but this sounds like something from McMagma. I don't know, Hunter. I think this one, yeah, I was gonna say this kind of sounds a little bit too much like a McMagma thing than anything else. I hate to say this, but Hunter and the boys, I think you kind of screwed the pooch on this one, like Michael Bullock would normally say.
Yeah, thanks.
Swing and a miss.
Yeah, swing and a miss indeed. But the fight ends in a no contest, 8 minutes and 50 seconds. And you would think, oh, you're like, okay, so who's the number one contender? Well, Adam Pearce took care of that. Next Monday night on Raw, Fort Lauderdale, FLA Live Arena. How about it? Triple threat match for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. Alba Fire, Isla Dawn defending against both the Pure Fusion Collective, Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark, and Damage Control, Kairi Sane and Io Sky. Triple threat match. It's a no contest in 850. Gentlemen, I think we're all in agreement that we're going to NA this match. But Bullock, do you have a quick thought?
Yeah, it's a definite no rating, but obviously this is the way they want to get both teams into the title picture here, and Adam Pearce basically got them in there. So yeah, there's really nothing more to say. Fletch, quick thought.
Well, I'll take it first.
Oh yeah, you first.
I'll take it for a spin, and then we'll get MF's thoughts here. It is an NA, but if I had put a rating on it, I probably would have given it in excess of 2.5, 2 3/4. The result was not ideal, but all of the action leading up to it was entertaining and made both teams look strong. And we had a couple of special guests in the crowd tonight. The first one here, Candice Michelle, former WWE Women's Champion and former Playboy cover girl, of course. The Pure Fusion Collective sounds like the name of a company with a very vague business plan. And Kairi Sane always makes her offense look believable despite being one of the smaller competitors. So, but it is an NA, but it'll be interesting to see how this triple threat goes next week in Fort Lauderdale. So, it is an NA, but if I put a rating on it, it would have been around 2.5, 2 3/4. So, not much more to say here. MF, quick thought on that triple threat next week. in Fort Lauderdale?
I think it's going to be a very interesting matchup. I think that's going to be the best way to say it. As far as beyond that, yeah, I kind of feel like it's kind of a little bit there, but there's really nothing more to add. So yeah, like you said, nothing more to say. Can't wait for the triple threat, and we'll see you next week. So yeah, Floyo, back to you.
All right, MF, you're gonna have some fun with this. Next up, it was your boy Randy Orton. Randy Orton comes out, cuts a promo, interrupted by the World Heavyweight Champion Gunther. And then they got interrupted by Drew McIntyre and CM Punk. So, well, I'll just say it like this. When it comes to in-ring segments, I got to say this was the segment of the night here. Randy Orton came to the ring to talk about challenging Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship at Bash in Berlin. The Ring General arrived a few minutes later to respond. They traded some insults and jokes. But the Viper's mood changed when Gunther went there and brought up Randy Orton's grandfather and his father. His father, of course, Hall of Famer Cowboy Bob Orton.
That's a mistake. You should not have done that.
Mm-hmm. Before they could come to blows, Drew McIntyre's music hit. He walked to the ring. Orton used the distraction to hit an RKO out of nowhere on Gunther. MF was woohooing a la Jerry Lawler. And then CM Punk shows up and attacks Drew McIntyre. He used Drew's own belt to whip him until he ran away through the crowd. This was a very good segment because it managed to address two completely different feuds without anyone's participation feeling forced. The feud between CM Punk and Drew McIntyre is far from over, but the story of Randy Orton and Gunther is just heating up. Gunther was trying not to laugh at Randy Orton's comment about his wife. Yeah, MF can tell you that firsthand. And Randy Orton has a level of charisma that you cannot teach. So, oh boy, we got a couple. We got two potential bangers here. Randy Orton and Gunther, you know, they got banger potential. But as far as Punk and McIntyre goes, I don't think it's going to be a regular wrestling match in Berlin. I think it's going to be a strap match. I think we're leading to a strap match when it comes to Punk and McIntyre. But MF, you were eating this up. And I not only saw you smirking, but I heard you let out a Jerry Lawler like, woohoo, and then a let's go when Randy Orton hit that RKO out of nowhere on Gunther.
Wasn't so subtle, wasn't it? My bad. I'm sorry. That's just me being me, man. You guys know how much I love Randy Orton. Come on, man. I mean, I'm telling you, I think the only other time where I lost my mind like that, and Michael Bullock knows, was the night when Rusev got ducked with the RKO in Providence out of nowhere.
Oh, I remember that fondly, Fletch, when you and I were there when we saw it happen, and you went nuts when he hit that RKO out of nowhere.
Yep. That sudden impact, you don't see it coming. And when he hits that, I don't care who you are, I don't care what you're about, I don't care where you're from, you mark out like nuts when that RKO is hit. It's just it's a thing of beauty, man. I don't know what it is. And God, I hope I see that in a couple of weeks in Prague. That's all I'm just saying. I hope I get to see that in a couple of weeks. 2 weeks from tonight, I hope I get to see an RKO out of nowhere. But we'll wait and see. But it was good. It was good. I think they did a really good job storyline wise. It developed the storyline. It kept the things going, kept things fluid. I enjoyed it. Non-wrestling segment of the night. Nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, non-wrestling segment of the night, hands down. And the moment when Gunther went there and mentioned that his grandfather was a screw-up and his dad was a screw-up, and that Randy himself was the biggest screw up, you could just see the look in Randy's eyes. He was like, "You effing son of a bitch." It's one thing to talk about me, but when you bring up my father and my grandfather, that is one thing you do not want to do. You do not go there, and that is what Gunther did. And Fletch, please remind the people what happens when you piss off a Viper, especially when you bring up his family.
Oh, he might have stepped away, Bullock.
Yeah, so all right, so but
we know where you're going with it.
yeah, especially like I said, Florio, especially when you bring up his family, and that is not a good thing to do. And Gunther paid for it, and then Drew comes out and basically, well, because you heard earlier in the night, Florio, when he was talking with Adam Pearce, when CM Punk wasn't there, he took issue with Orton getting the title shot, and he was going to go and confront Orton. That was until CM Punk came out of nowhere and basically went to town on McIntyre with that belt. And I do agree, Bash at Berlin, Punk, McIntyre, Part 2, I think it's going to be a strap match, hands down. So yeah, there's really nothing more to say. So it's yours, Florio.
Yes, indeed. And I'm just moving on here. And then CM Punk interviewed by Kathy Kelly. It looked like that it was going to be because he had a strap in his hands. Looked like we're definitely leaning towards a strap match here. And then another special guest, WWE Hall of Famer, the world's strongest man, Mark Henry, and his son, Jacob. Jacob is a part of that NIL program, WWE's NIL program. Nice little moment for them. And, man, what a pop he got, I'll tell you. And then it leads into our next match. It was Bronson Reed, big Bronson Reed, squaring off against The Miz. Bronson Reed wins the match, 6 minutes and 40 seconds. And before I give it to MF to start, and it's only fitting that MF is starting off on this. Commentary gold. We're about to get commentary gold right here. You want some? I'm going to give you some right here. Of course, Bronson won the match. That predictable, of course. But he lays out Miz. R-Truth gets in the way. R-Truth says, come on, leave him alone. And then he does to R-Truth what he did to Seth. Bronson Reed does to R-Truth what he did to Seth freaking Rollins last week. He hit not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 tsunamis. And as he was doing it, and as he did it on the last one, MF, in pure heel commentary form, first off, he actually mocked my Jesse Ventura laugh. He did the ha-ha each and every time he did it. And then I shoot him a zombie death stare saying, how dare you, first off. And then MF, this is where we really took it up a notch. I said, don't you have regard for human life? And then you looked at me and said, Florio, I'm a Cerebral Viper. And Cerebral Vipers, we don't have any regard for human life. Never have, and we damn sure never will. Ha ha.
Hey, R-Truth! What's up?
Exactly. That's also what you did. That's what you did the first time. But after the last one, do you have no regard for human life? And then that's when you bring up the I'm a Cerebral Viper. We don't have any regard for human life. Never have, and we damn sure never will. Ha ha ha.
Yep.
All right, MF. Bronson Reed in 640. But boy, did you eat it up after what he did to R-Truth. Oh my God.
Dude, R-Truth, wrong place, wrong time. Brother, sorry, man. You know the rules. You stick your nose where it doesn't belong, you get yourself your butt kicked for it. And Big Bronson Reed made an example out of you. He made an example out of Seth freaking Rollins. Now you were just made an example of here tonight on Monday Night Raw. And it couldn't have happened to a better guy. You know, I'm done with the comedy, ha ha. I'm done with the shtick. I'm done with the stupidity. Bronson Reed put it an end to it, and it could not have happened at a more great moment. And he is week by week getting better and better, and fans are like, look, you could say in one way, The Miz kind of was like, why are you giving me a match with Bronson Reed? Remember, R-Truth was trying to convince The Miz, hey, I'm going to give you an opportunity. You're going to get to face off with Bronson Reed. What? Bronson Reed? Why are you giving me him? That's the funny ha-ha thing. But there was no laughing matter once the match happened. All right, the match was over. Bronson Reed was like, you know what? I'm going to make an example out of you. R-Truth was like, hey, bro, come on. Oh, the match is over, man. You already proved your point. What? Proved what point? Okay. You touch the bull by the horns, you're going to get stampede over. So that was exactly what happened. And the thing was, the fans got over on it. They were yelling. They were begging one more time. It's like the fans were like, and you know, I don't know what it was about that moment, but it was one of those type of things. And yes, the moment started to go. You started to feel it. And yeah, I mean, the first time the commentary was epic. Anthony Blair was like, oh no, tsunami!
And we also recreated the infamous earthquake hacksaw Jim Duggan from WrestleMania 6 when when he went up the second time. You're like, oh, I think he might, and then you let out a yeah, and I'm like, no, and you're like, for another tsunami, no, and then the laugh, ha ha, yeah, and then you're like, hey, as far as I'm concerned, Truth deserves it. You're like, for what?
He stuck his nose where it didn't belong. Plain and simple.
And then it was after the fifth and final one where I brought up the regard for human life and that epic Cerebral Viper line. Oh.
Yep. So I mean, it was beautiful, man. You could not have done any better than that. So, great heel moment. Again, Bronson Reed, dude, Hunter and the boys. We may criticize you from time to time, thinking you're not doing really smart things or doing some things good. My goodness, man. He's like, these 2 weeks alone has shown Bronson Reed in such a different light that it makes him that much more of a threat, a legitimate threat for one of these titles. Now, I'm going to say right now, if he keeps this up, we might be looking at a future Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion. As a matter of fact, maybe he's the one to upend Bron Breakker. Now, I know Bron Breakker is on a warpath and everything else, but if Bronson Reed keeps up what he's doing, I don't care who you are, and I don't care if you're the son of the dog-faced gremlin, you're going to get tsunami'd out of your belt. That's what I'm saying. So, nothing more to say, Michael Bullock, it is yours, my brother.
Oh, well, I don't know how the heck I'm gonna follow that, but I'm not even gonna freaking try. But yeah, I'll give this about maybe a 1.5 to 2 on this one. But man, Bronson Reed continues to be on a warpath, And yeah, first Seth Rollins, and now it's R-Truth who suffers the fate of all those tsunamis. And I guess we could say, boys, that the fine by Adam Pierce what's the word I'm looking for, boys? Like to
Not enough, not severe enough.
not or to Dieter Bronson Reed be like, okay, I'm not gonna do it anymore. You really think he was gonna be shaken up by that? No, because he was out to prove a point and basically saying, you haven't been giving me enough, so if you're not going to give me an opportunity of any kind, this is what's going to happen. So this is on you, Adam Pierce, not me. But I can tell you this right now, Adam Pierce is probably he's one pissed off guy, and don't be surprised the next day that he suspends Bronson Reed for defying WWE officials. Were you gonna say something, Fletch?
Yeah, well, in heel-like fashion, I was gonna say, like the Stooge is gonna do anything to Bronson Reed that he's already hasn't done. He tried to double fine him, and look what happened tonight.
It's like the final actually pissed him off even more.
Yeah. What I would love to see, and I know this would be a little bit overboard, but I don't give a damn. I would love to see Bronson Reed tsunami Adam Pierce. Please give me that moment. Hell, I'll even do this. Do it in Providence. Bronson Reed, I'm telling you right now, you do that stuff in Providence, Rhode Island. I was about to say a swear word. I caught myself, thank God. But if you do that in Providence, Rhode Island, man, you will have a fan for life. I will, dude. Wayne's World, I'm not worthy. I swear, I will do it. I will do it. Bronson
if
Reed.
He does that. I wonder if Triple H will get involved in this.
I think Hunter might. Because I think Hunter would be like, hey, wait a minute, you're going too far now. You just tsunami'd the general manager for Monday Night Raw. Yeah, I think Hunter might get involved. At that point, then I'll be like, oh boy.
Yeah, don't be surprised if that happens. Triple H is like, look, I know you're trying to prove a point, but to tsunami the general manager, you're taking it way overboard.
Yeah, even though I think, and I'm gonna be honestly to say, I think there's some fans that would not mind seeing Adam Pierce get tsunami'd. Sorry, I'm gonna call it, including Pat McAfee. So we already know that. So besides, McAfee's already got himself in trouble with Adam Pierce. He's gotten fined a couple of times, but for calling him a stooge.
Well, if he tsunamis Adam Pierce, that's the only thing is he's gonna have to face the wrath of Triple H.
Yeah.
And when you get on the bad side of Triple H, and
no, Uncle, no, you do not want to see that. You do not want to see the anger side of Triple H because Hunter is sadistic enough, cerebral assassin, and the thing is, you never know. He brings out Uncle Sledgy. Oh no, you're done, Bronson. You are so done.
Yeah, so he can think about doing it all he wants, but if he does it, yeah, Triple H.
Well, we'll see.
Have a word or two with Bronson Reed, and it's not good.
No, it won't. But come on, man. Simple. Imagine that visual. Imagine the visual if that happens in Providence. We're there, and we see Adam Pierce get tsunami'd. Oh, Florio, you're going to have to hold me back because I will go.
Florio will have to hold you back.
I will go. You boys are in for it if that happens.
Please don't let it happen.
Oh, I got some material. I got some. Trust me, I will. I will be in the lab cooking up some beautiful content if that happens.
Oh man,
Oh
so
boy.
I don't
In
know
the
what
immortal
else is there
words
to
of
say.
Gorilla Monsoon after Bobby Heenan said, "I'm going to win all the money at WrestleMania 8." Oh boy.
I don't know what else is there to say except it's yours, Florio.
Well, how do you follow that? My gosh. In the immortal words of the late great
Exactly.
Regis Philbin, one of our all-time favorites. Oh boy. 2.5 stars for the match. Simple match. I told a simple story. Fine for what it was. Obviously, that will not stand out. But the post-match angle made for a very strong follow-up to last week's angle with Seth freaking Rollins. So, all right. Before we get to the main event, couple things. This was where they made the mixed tag match official for Berlin. Damian Priest, Rhea Ripley versus Dominic Mysterio and the Women's World Champion Liv Morgan. We're gonna get that in Berlin. Yeah, I'm hopeful that we'll get something fun with that in 2 weeks when we go. Next week, Monday Night Raw, it'll be live from Fort Lauderdale, Florida at the FLA Live Arena. We got Alba Fire and Isla Dawn versus Io Sky and Kairi Sane versus Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark in a triple threat match for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. We also have that 6-man tag, Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods, and Odyssey Jones against the Final Testament, Karrion Kross in the AOP. And also added for next week, Sheamus versus Pete Dunne. Fort Lauderdale, you're lucky. Boy, how I wish we could have gotten that one. But it is what it is. All right, main event of the evening. Return match from SummerSlam. Sami Zayn invoking his rematch clause for the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship. Return match against Braun Breaker. Intercontinental rules. You know what that means. 2 out of 3 falls. In the first fall, Sami Zayn won the first fall via pinfall after a haluva kick. That came at 6 minutes and 40 seconds. And then 6 minutes later, Braun Breaker evened the bout at 1 fall apiece with a spear. Total time after 2 falls was 12:40. And then I just have to get the third. I just have to get the third and deciding fall time here. Give me 1 second here. I had to do a refresh on that. I think we have it here. That was 6:40, 12:40. And then about a little less than 5 minutes later, and then in a total time of 17 and a half minutes, the winner and still the Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion, Braun Breaker, successfully defends the title. He wins the match, 2 falls to 1. Michael Bullock, you get to lead off on the main event and the fight of the night. 17 and a half minutes. Braun Breaker still the Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion. No big surprise.
Yeah, 3. I'll say 3.5 to 4 on this one. I mean, this was definitely the fight of the night. I mean, the outcome to me was never in doubt, but obviously they wanted to give the first fall to Sami Zayn to put Braun Breaker in a little bit of a hole, but you knew he was gonna somehow find a way to bounce back, and that's exactly what he did. And then he got the final fall. So, yep, Braun Breaker's still the Intercontinental Champion. So now the question is, who's next for Braun Breaker? So, yeah, there's really nothing more to say. It's yours, Florio.
Fight of the night here, no doubt about it. This was 4 to 4.25 stars. Yes, this was the best of their 3 matches, and it gave Braun a good springboard into his next feud. The backstage promos before an entrance work best if only used before big matches like this. The way Braun Breaker counters a leapfrog into a slam always looks great. Sammy's haluva kick finishing Breaker was a little surprising. Braun throwing Sami into the timekeeper's area looked brutal. And Breaker's jumping clothesline from the apron to the announce table was awesome. And then that spear in midair to win the match. Absolutely incredible. 4 to 4.25 stars. Fight of the night for me, no doubt about it. I think we could put this feud to bed now because this was the blow off. Braun came out on top. So with that being said, MF, Braun Breaker successfully defends 17 and a half minutes, wins the match, still the champion. Who's next for Braun?
Yeah, that's gonna be the very interesting story is who will be next. At the end of the day, I thought they did a really good job with it. I thought this was an excellent matchup. I would say easily that I would say this was 4 stars. So yeah, what you said was absolutely right. I think it was point blank, and yeah, there's really nothing more to add. So Anthony, it's yours.
All right, gentlemen, overall review time, and I started off. I'll be honest, tonight's Raw had its ups and downs, but the good outweighed the bad enough to make it a show worth watching. Seeing Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley get a small measure of revenge against Judgment Day was fun, but this story is far from being over and will likely last through the next pay-per-view or two. The best match on the show, obviously, Braun Breaker, Sami Zayn in the main event, like we knew it. But I'll tell you what, even though we gave it a no rating, the women's tag match was also highly entertaining and far better than it had any right to be. Randy Orton and Gunther's segment was solid and led to CM Punk and Drew McIntyre's interaction, so that accomplished 2 things at once. Overall, this episode is right in the average range, but a hot crowd elevates it. So I'm going to give this about 7.5, teetering on 8, but more around 7.5 or so. So not much more to say. MF, your thoughts on tonight's Raw?
7.5 out of 10. I thought they did a really good job with it. Some matches were better than others. I think we can definitely agree with that. But at the end of the day, it was a solid show for what it's worth. And yeah, I think they did a really good job. So nothing more to say. And Michael Bullock, it is yours.
Yeah, 7.5 for me. Yeah, overall, I thought it was a good show. I mean, yeah, there were some things I thought could have been better, but really not that all that much to complain about. So nothing more to say. For you, if you're ready, I think it's time for your Tony's take.
I think it's time for my Tony's take too. And here we go. You know how we do it as we always do. It is, of course, Impact. It is TNA Impact along with NXT Level Up. And let's dive on in. Started off with TNA Impact. And here we go. We started it off. We had an in-ring promo with the System. System cut an in-ring promo, and the only thing of notice here, Moose issued a challenge to Mike Santana, and we're going to see Moose and Mike Santana this upcoming Thursday night on TNA Impact. And Speedball Mike Bailey, they had a segment with Speedball Mike Bailey, the X Division champion, and the Director of Authority, Santino Marella. And Speedball says, "I'm so ready that I want to win a qualifying match." The champion put himself in a qualifying match. And if he loses, he not only he loses the title. So he puts himself in a qualifying match. It was Mike Bailey versus Trent Seven versus Jake something. And Speedball Mike Bailey wins it in 7 minutes and 4 seconds. 2.5 stars, fast paced while it lasted. Thankfully, they didn't bother doing anything zany with the title. Just let Speedball move on to the title match and go where it needs to from here. With the second reign starting fairly well, Bailey is turning into more of a special champion. And that is a good sign for the future of that title. Kushida versus Jonathan Gresham, the match we should have gotten on that Slammiversary pre-show, but didn't. It was Kushida winning the match in 10 minutes and 27 seconds. 3 to 3 1/4. I'm not usually a fan of just dropping a story out of nowhere, but I wouldn't be complaining if the whole Poison Evil stuff was dropped cold. It was one of the dumbest things in wrestling over the last few months and wasn't doing anyone any good. I'm glad Gresham wrestled this match totally normal, which gives me hopes that things are turning around for him. Knockouts Championship match, open challenge, Jordan Grace. The question was, who was going to answer? Sorry, guys, it was not a lady from NXT. We kept it in-house. It was Rosemary, former champion in her own right, but it does get interrupted by, of course, MF's favorite, Ash by Elegance. Ash by Elegance ruins the match. The match gets thrown away in 6:10. NA. In a way, I'm glad they went with that ending, as it was a big enough showdown to warrant a bigger spot. There is a good chance we'll see them do it again, which is not the worst idea in the world. For now, I can go with a nice tease of a match before Ash gets involved. Ash almost has to win the title at some point, and this could be helping to set that up. So that's an NA. And they made the announcement, their biggest event of the year, Bound for Glory, will take place on Saturday night, October the 26th, from Detroit, Michigan. So how about that? Saturday, October 26th, there's Bound for Glory. And when we do Ridiculously Raw, leading into that, that'll be on October 21st. I will have a full-on preview of that show. Josh Alexander cuts a heel promo, interrupted by the TNA Heavyweight Champion Nick Nemeth, and it sets up our huge main event for the next show, which I'll address. Another qualifier, Zachary. This is an Ultimate X qualifying match. Zachary Wentz of the Rascals versus Casey Navarro versus NXT's Dante Chen. Zachary Wentz wins the match, 4 minutes and 50 seconds. Fun while it lasts. Fun little sprint while it lasted, but there's almost nothing that can be done in a three-way match that has less than 5 minutes. Navarro or Chen going over would not have been the biggest shock, as a match like this often has a surprise entrant, though. Wentz going in as the Rascals representative works well. Nice match, but they didn't have that much time. 2.5, that's the best I can go for that. And then the main event of the evening, it was Wolfgang from Gallus squaring off against Michael Bullock's favorite.
Say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. I believe in Joe Hendry.
And yes, Joe Hendry wins the match, 9 minutes and 9 seconds, 3 stars. Worked perfectly well as a match designed to give Hendry a win on TNA television. It shows him being an NXT star, even if Wolfgang isn't that high level up on the totem pole. Henry is still the hottest thing in TNA, but he doesn't have anything going on at the moment. That needs to change before the Emergence special on August 30th. And thankfully, they have time to get there before that show in a few weeks. So 3 stars for that. 7 out of 10. It was another show where it was more about setting things up for later. You had the Ultimate X qualifying matches. Grace, Ash by Elegance, and Rosemary being set up, and Mike Santana becoming the system's next target. Not really a show you needed to see, but the wrestling was okay enough, and it wasn't boring, which isn't bad for a show that is there to set things up rather than do almost anything major. So that's the story there. This Thursday night on TNA Impact, we will have more qualifying matches for the Ultimate X match at the Emergence special on TNA Plus on August the 30th. We will have a knockouts match, Giselle Shaw versus Tasha Steelz. And Michael Bullock, you're going to love this when I tell you. I'm going to bring back a favorite of yours. It's going to have 2 officials. Not 1, but 2 officials. So Giselle Shaw, Tasha Steelz, 2 referees. Mike Santana goes one-on-one with Moose. And then the main event for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship, Nick Nemeth defending the title against the challenger and former 2-time champion and the longest TNA heavyweight champion of all time, the walking weapon, Josh Alexander. My God, that is going to be a banger. I cannot wait for Thursday night. So that's the story in that. So with that, let's get into quickly. We got NXT Level Up to get into, and then we'll call it a night here. Let me go ahead and find that real quick. Just got to find it. Okay, here we go. And speaking of Dante Chen, here's Dante Chen again. Dante Chen goes up against Keanu Carver. Dante Chen in 4:58 wins the match. It was fine. I want to see more of Carver as his power game works, and it's always fun seeing a big man throwing people around the ring. And Chen continues to play his role as gatekeeper of NXT. Solid 2 stars. Wendy Chu goes one-on-one with Lainey Reed. Wendy Chu wins it in 5:02. I like the darker version of Chu's gimmick better than what we were getting. It was okay, as it was mainly an extended squash for Wendy Chu, 1.5 stars. And then the main event, Idris Anafe squaring off against Kale Dixon. And Idris Anafe wins the match in 7 minutes and 43 seconds. They just kept working and working until they turned in a solid match overall. Nice to see Dixon back, and he looked good after the injury. And I've enjoyed seeing Blade and Anafe in singles matches. That was a 2.5-star match. 6 out of 10, another solid 20 minutes of wrestling with nothing being must-see, but nothing on the low end either. And it's always an easy watch, and it's nice to see some old faces return from injuries. So 6 out of 10 for that. And with that, that will put the bow on this edition of Ridiculously Raw. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in as always. We will be back with you on Wednesday night at 10:30 over on MF's channel, BraceFan 95. We have another edition of Wednesday Night Madness, NXT, and AEW Dynamite. Let me tell you, AEW Dynamite, loaded show, to say the very least. And we'll get into that on Wednesday night. And then on Friday, maybe Saturday, I don't know, it will be the Cerebral Smack Talk with MF on BraceFan 95. And we got Friday night SmackDown. And MF will have the Big Three. We got the Big Three championship game all set. And let me just tell you right now, I, for one, couldn't be any happier with the participants in this championship game. That's all I'm going to tell you right now. And then next week, we do it all again. Ridiculously Raw, Monday Night Raw, and of course, Monday Night Raw, and of course, the Tony's Take with TNA Impact and NXT Level Up. So that's it. So until Wednesday night for Wednesday Night Madness, this is Anthony Florio here for good old MF Michael Fletcher, for the Phenom Michael Bullock, and of course, in spirit, the one and only Twisted Angel Didi Woodson. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah. Throw it up, Fortune Force style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed couple of days. And until Wednesday night for Wednesday Night Madness, you've been watching Ridiculously Raw right here on the Zone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. And remember, my friends, no matter what anyone tells you beyond anything else, wrestling is indeed actually real. For everybody who has been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long, and bye, everybody, bye.